Welcome everybody to excuse me, week 6. And not much change in the overall standings. The only real change is the Vietnam Voyagers taking over the number 1 spot in the West over the Cameron Cavaliers as the Voyagers pick up the win, big win, and the Cavaliers taking a loss. So the Voyagers were able to take over there in the West. Otherwise, there's not much change. The Voyagers did beat the Trolls, so now the Trolls are now not undefeated, and there's only one undefeated team left, and that is the Columbia Dumpster Fire. And there are still two winless teams in the Tanks and the Miami Cartel. And those two teams face off this week, so it should be pretty fun. Let's get into the power rankings. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Coming in at number 12, coming in at number 12, you got the Tanks. Coming in at number 11, you got the Cartel. These two garbage teams are playing each other this week to see who is the actual worst in the league in the Garbage Bowl. We'll get into that a little bit later. Coming in at number 10, still at number 10, even though they got a win, I still have to put the Heaters here. They picked up a big-time win over the Cameron Cavaliers, big upset, but they're still 1-4, and I don't know, with them compared to the other 1-4 team coming in at number 9, the LA Finesse. Both of these teams are just very mediocre right now, and the Finesse took another loss last week to the Mothmen, and maybe they could be switched. Heaters at 9, Finesse at 10. Semantics, don't really care too much about that. These teams are in the bottom half of the league right now. For the Heaters, they got to keep winning to keep it going. Finesse have got to stop the bleeding now, or they're going to be done for the year. Coming in at number 8, moving up one spot, you got the Long Island Rune Dogs. They finally picked up their second win of the season over the Quailmen. So pretty big win for them. Same thing though, the Rune Dogs have got to keep winning. They're 2-3 on the year. Very uncharacteristic of them. Let's see if they can keep winning. And coming in at number 7, the team that they did just beat, the Quailmen. Yeah, I guess the same with Finesse and Heaters. Maybe 7 and 8 could be swapped, but I want to see some more, some more of the same from the Rune Dogs to move them up. And the Quailmen, I think, have got to lose again to go down. And I don't know if the Quailmen are going to lose this week, so we'll see. Coming in at number 6, this was tough. These two the next two teams were very tough. Hell, the next 2 or 3 teams. This was very, very hard to place. I'm gonna drop a team down to number 6. I've got the Midlands Mothmen. Yeah, you may disagree. I kind of almost disagree with it myself. It's very hard to place them. And coming in at number 5, you got the Tiger Sharks. And both of these teams have the same record, but the Tiger Sharks have looked fucking great. And they're 4-1 on the year. Yes, so are the Mothmen. But the Tiger Sharks have scored a little bit more on the season. And I think the Tiger Sharks just have a better overall track record right now. The only team that they've lost to, I'm pretty sure, is the Trolls. And so the Tiger Sharks are looking for real this year, led by Baker Mayfield. They're just looking very, very, very good. And if they can keep it up, they're going to be in the playoffs very easily. And honestly, a team that I don't think anyone wants to play right now are these Tiger Sharks, looking very dangerous. Coming down to number 4, I got the Cameron Cavaliers. Yeah, they are 3-2. They did start off the season with 3 straight wins. They've now lost 2 in a row, but they are still looking very, very strong. They did have a very bad game, so yeah, there is an argument to be made where the Cavs could be at 6. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with anybody. It was very tough to pick 4, 5, and 6. But right now, the Cavs have shown that they have the world-beating power And I don't know. I've got them here. If they lose again, then they're going to drop down pretty hard because then they're not the 3-0 team anymore. That residue will be gone because they'll be 3-3 at that point. But we'll see if they can keep it up. Hell, even if they win and the Tiger Sharks and Mothmen win, it may be time to move the Tiger Sharks and Mothmen above them. So even if the Cavs do win, they could move down. So we'll see. Coming in at number 3, jumping the Cavs, you have the Vietnam Voyagers. Again, big win last week over the Trolls. I still can't really justify putting them above the Trolls at this point, as the Trolls have looked amazing outside of the one game that they've lost, and they only lost by a field goal, less than a field goal. So it would be tough to put them down. And again, coming in at number 2, you got the Charleston Trolls. Did take a loss to the Voyagers, just said it. But outside of this one game, they still put up 121 points. So they're still very, very solid. In a game that they lose, they still put up a decent amount of scoring, but they just couldn't eke it out there last week. And coming in at number 1, you have the Columbia Dumpster Fire. They are undefeated right now, 5-0, looking fantastic. And this week, they've got, who the hell do they got this week? They got the Trolls this week. So, pretty much game of the week, but it's not game of the week, and we'll get into that. Let's get into the matchups. Matchup number 1, you got the 4-1 Vietnam Voyagers at the 2-3 French Quarter Quailmen. Right now, the Voyagers are winning this game 17-0 early, or I think late in the first quarter. And Wandale Robinson coming out of nowhere, picking up a lot of fucking points in a game where he's finally using all of those targets to get a bunch of points. Yeah, he kind of showed out in week 2, but he's getting a buttload of targets, did the same thing last year, but hasn't really been able to put up a lot of totals, and he had the one crazy play. So if he can keep it up, he may be someone that the Voyagers want to put in full time, but we'll see. The Voyagers have a lot of guys on bye this week: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason, all the Vikings. They're also without Higgins, but they don't really play him as much, and they're still missing Bucky Irving, who has been ruled out this week again, and he may be out longer than people expect. I wish they would go ahead and put him on IR, but maybe the coach thinks he can come back next week. We'll see against Detroit on Monday Night Football. The Quailmen, they have pretty much everybody in. I don't think they only have Nico Collins on bye, and Scary Terry is out this week. So, you know, the Quailmen are running at almost full power, and it does always seem whenever the Voyagers play the Quailmen, I think they usually win. They always play their best whenever they play the Voyagers, so this should be a pretty good game. Again, the Voyagers are up 17-0, but the spread is in favor of the hometown Quailmen by 9 points, about 10 points on that one. So we'll see if the Quailmen can pull that one out and get themselves back to 500. Big time game for both teams. Both teams don't necessarily need to win, but the Quailmen need a win way more than the Voyagers do, but the Voyagers need to keep pace in the West and stay on top. Matchup number 2. Ooh, boy. You got the 1-4 LA Finesse at the 2-3 Long Island Roondogs. Right now, the Roondogs are up 29-0 in the second quarter there. And, you know, Jalen Hurts, Saquon didn't have the best day. Jalen Hurts had a Jalen Hurts day. Right now, the spread is in favor of the Roondogs by 2 touchdowns. I'm assuming it's going to stay that way. The Finesse have got to show life. They're not at home. They're going all the way out to a place that's hostile. It's a rivalry game. This is going to be tough for the Finesse. This is a must-win for both teams. I think if the Finesse lose this game, they may be looking at, you know, sitting this postseason And if the Room Dogs lose, they still got a decent chance to make it, but they obviously need a win here. So this is must win for both teams here already in week 6. Matchup. God damn, am I sick? Matchup number 3. You got the 4-1 Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks at the 3-2 Cameron Cavaliers. This may be a little bit of a heated matchup, as the Tiger Sharks believe they should be above the Cavs in the power rankings and standings everywhere. And I think maybe the rest of the world believes it as well. However, right now the Cavs jumped out to a massive 48-1 lead late in the second quarter. Jackson Dart is looking like a starting quarterback. The last 3 weeks, 19, 16, 24 points. Looking very, very good from Jackson Dart. He is in concussion protocol, though, so we'll see how that shapes up. And the rest of the Cavs have played their special teams and defense, getting some decent amount of points, but not the best. And right now, it does say that the Cavs have an 8-point spread, but we've seen the Tiger Sharks do it time and time again this season, where they're supposed to lose and they come back and they win it. And right now they've got their entire team, ready to go. However, Mike Evans and Godwin are both out this week for the Tiger Sharks. That's going to be sorely needed for them. However, they still have Quentin Johnston and Michael Pittman to step up in their absence, so they should be pretty good to go there. And it looks like they're going to start Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who had a big-time week last week, and it looks like the Tiger Sharks are going to move them into the starting lineup, and hopefully they can recreate what they did last week for this big-time game. Matchup number 4. You got a big game. You got the 4-1 Charleston Trolls at the undefeated reigning champ, 2-time reigning champ Columbia Dumpster Fire. Yes, this is a rivalry game. Should have been game of the week, most likely. However, I don't disagree with the ruling on what the game of the week is. This game has not kicked off just yet. It does kick off in an hour as of recording this. And it looks like the Dumpster Fire have a 13-point spread going into this. And it may turn out that way, but hey, Dak Prescott's having a career year right now. He's just been killing it the last few weeks, and the Trolls are going to need that, and they're going to need Jonathan Taylor Thomas to just keep doing what he's doing. But I think they're going to need JTT to get basically 30 points, I think, for them to have a really good chance, as they are, not necessarily hurt or anything, but the Dumpster Fire are 5-0 for a reason. They have so much firepower. It's going to be very tough for them to overcome this undefeated team, even though they are 4-1 and one of the best teams in the league. This is going to be a tough matchup. Let's get on to the rivalry game of the week, the Brothers Bowl. You got the 1-4 Hickory Grove Heaters finally picked up a win last week against and at the 4-1 Midlands Mothmen, and everyone around the area is rejoicing. They finally got this game back. They were on a 2-year hiatus, and now this game is back. And the Heaters have jumped out to a 46-22 lead late in the second quarter here. Cam Skattebo, is that how we pronounce this name? Had a fantastic game. 3 touchdowns, scored 30 points even for the Heaters, as well as A.J. Brown finally doing something outside of week 3, but it looks like every 3 weeks he kind of turns up, so who knows what's going to happen next week. But the Mothmen also looking pretty solid. They got 23 points out of Goddard. 22 points out of Goddard, so looking fantastic. He had his best game of the year. 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Goddard has been fantastic the last 4 weeks, scoring a touchdown in each of those games. And this looks like a very, very close matchup. The Mothmen, even though they're losing, do have a 16-point spread, so 2 touchdowns still on the older brother Heaters. Heaters need this win. Again, like I said last week, they got to win, and they got to keep winning to stay relevant. The Mothmen are still trying to catch the dumpster fire out there in the East. However, they do have a nice little healthy cushion over the Roondogs and obviously the Miami Cartel. So we'll see what's going to go on that one. Let's get into the game of the week. I'm pumped for this motherfucker. On ESPN 8, the Ocho. You got the 0-5 Miami Cartel at the 0-5 Tiananmen Square Tanks. Right now, the Cartel have scored 2 safeties to start off this game. They are up 4-0, and that is exactly what we expected out of this garbage game. I don't think any team is going to score above 100 in this one, and right now the Cartel do have only a touchdown spread. They're in Tiananmen Square. They're in Beijing. So we'll see what the Cartel can do. I think this is the longest travel time for any of the teams this season, is for the Cartel to go all the way out from Miami all the way to Beijing. That is a hell of a flight, so it should be a sluggy matchup here. And we'll see. One of these teams have to win. One of them has to. Theoretically, they could tie. Obviously, the odds of that are extremely low. Whoever wins this game will probably not finish last in the league, most likely. Whoever loses this game is probably not going to win a fucking game all year unless they get really lucky with bye weeks or something about that, or maybe later in the season when guys are resting their starters, something. But yeah, whoever, this will be a fun matchup. I know everyone in the stands are going to be going crazy for that one. I know head coach Rybo got out there early to prepare his team for this big time game, and what I think will be a little bit of a new rivalry going forward for these two garbage ass squads, but we shall see. Let's get into the predictions. Dan made the picks this week because Coach Chunks lied to us all and went on a cruise and said fuck them picks. And but I assume Chunks will be making the picks next week for week 7. I see a discrepancy here in the bug. 1 second. Actually, I can fix the motherfucker now. Where's the scrolling bug? Where is it? How do I fix this fucking thing? There it is. I've got the Heaters with 2 S's. There we go. All right. Yeah, so Dan made the picks this week instead. A little bit of a sub there. And last week, though, Rico went 5-1. 5-1 on his picks. The only game he messed up was the Quailmen over the Roondogs pick, which is not a bad pick. So very good job, Rico. Rico is now in the lead for best prediction records on the season. Brought us up to 17-13 overall. Looking fantastic. But Dan made the picks, and he picked his hometown Quailmen over the Voyagers, and I would say a little bit of an upset. He's picked the Roondogs over the Finesse. He picked the Tiger Sharks over the Cavs, the Dumpster Fire over the Trolls, the Mothmen over the Heaters in the rivalry game of the week, and he picked the Tiananmen Square Tanks to pick up not only their first win of the season, but again, like he said, their first win in the league. Can they do it over the Cartel to get their first win ever in the league? If they can, this has to be the game to do it. Same with the Cartel. If there's any game that they're going to get a win, it has to be this one. But yeah, I like these picks a lot. Dan has a very good chance to go 6-0, but I'm seeing 4-2 on this one. Let's get into golf. Nothing too crazy, I don't think, in golf this week. Hunter had a very good game, very good round last week. He shot 6 birdies. So Hunter moving all the way from 3 over to 3 under. So going all the way from basically 10th place to tied with 3rd. Fantastic round by Hunter last week. Otherwise, Rybo had 3 bogeys and 1 birdie. Sam had 3 birdies, but he also had 2 bogeys, so he only ends up with 1 under on the round last week. And Graydon and Chunks both shot a bogey, so they both dropped down. So they get a little bit closer to that 3-way tie at third, Mandy, myself, and Hunter. And then Dan and P-Man are right behind us as well. So it's getting a little tighter as we go into the middle of these rounds, the heart of this course. And this will be very interesting to see what's going to happen. Again, this is for the goal line, Stein Prestigious. But let's get on out of here. And thank you, everybody, for these games. This week should be very, very entertaining. Vikings are on a bye this week, so I can get some fucking early sleep tonight. Much needed out here. But I got to go and coach my guys after the game. Got to go play these Quailmen, but we'll see. And yeah, that's about it. Guys, thank you very much. And okay, bye.